Hi everyone, this is Hannah from Spirit of Health, and I'm going to talk to you about depression today. So I have a big heart for emotional health, for people that have dealt with anxiety, depression, just overwhelm in life, things like that. So I'm really excited to talk to you about it today. So just to start off, I wanted to just say that if you're dealing with depression, postpartum depression, anything like that, that you are not broken and that there are reasons that you're dealing with depression. Our brain is wired for safety, for survival, and depression is a threat response really to things that are in our environment that aren't safe. So it definitely isn't just because, it isn't just a chemical imbalance in your brain. There's a lot to depression. There's multiple root causes many times, and I don't love when I hear people just, going to the doctor and they get a medication to just fix it. That, you don't need to be fixed. You're not broken. So I just wanted to start with that, and I have a lot of compassion for people that are dealing with depression and things like that. So today we're going to talk about many of the root causes of depression, as well as 5 things that you can do to help heal depression. We're going to talk about how the brain works and some ways to actually process emotions and regulate your nervous system. So I'm so passionate about that. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about this. So depression actually affects more than 300 million people in the world each year. That's really, really crazy. And actually more than 7% of the population is affected by depression. It's actually one of the most leading causes of disability in the US today. So it's a huge issue, and a lot of us growing up were really taught to suppress our emotions, and that's really a big root of depression is suppressed emotions. No one has an easy life. We all go through pain and trauma throughout life, and what happens is just as it piles up and we're just suppressing more and more, that's when depression can happen. It can be a long process getting into a really depressed state, and it can take some time to get out of it. So I just want to encourage you with the things that we're going to talk about, what you can do to help. It's going to take time, but hopefully with these little changes, you'll start to really feel relief quickly in life. So some of the root causes of depression, let's go through 5 root causes of depression. So deficiency is definitely one of them. Toxicity, gut dysbiosis, and infections can definitely affect our neurotransmitters, our nervous system, brain function, as well as, like I mentioned, the unprocessed and suppressed emotions, past trauma and pain, and then excess stress. A lot of people are absolutely overwhelmed in life, going a million miles a minute, and that can really cause depression. It can really stress out our adrenal glands, and increased cortisol is definitely linked to depression. So let's see here. Deficiencies. So some deficiencies that are really connected to depression, magnesium deficiency, that's one of the main deficiencies that people are dealing with today. Magnesium has over 500 functions in the body. It's absolutely incredible. It is going to be really, really helpful with regulating the nervous system. It's helpful with detoxification. It actually helps with neurotransmitters and hormones. It's super important. So getting magnesium, we do magnesium oil foot soaks. Those are really great at boosting your magnesium levels. Vitamin D, that's why a lot of people have seasonal affective disorder. So I know winter's coming up and a lot of people deal with that. So boosting your vitamin D levels can be really, really helpful. Iron and B vitamins, those deficiencies can definitely be connected to depression, especially B6 and B12 can really be connected to depression. And it's interesting because the next one with gut dysbiosis and infectious organisms, parasites are very much linked to anemia and iron deficiency. So parasites will actually steal nutrients from our body. Sometimes people will have a whole meal and they just feel like they didn't really eat anything. They don't feel energized from it. They don't feel like they got nutrients. That's because the parasites are stealing the nutrients from the meal. So parasitic infections are definitely linked to depression. We've had multiple clients do a parasite cleanse, and after doing the cleanse, they feel like a new person. Their anxiety has been healed, depression, things like that. It's absolutely incredible. And one thing to note is even we'll have clients that do a parasite cleanse and they will feel all types of emotions. One of our clients, she was deeply grieving the entire parasite cleanse. It was like she lost a loved one, she said. And at the end, at the day that it stopped, she felt like a new person. Emotionally, she felt so light and free. So this is all connected. All these things are so connected. We're, body, soul, spirit, mind, everything is connected. So what we put in our bodies is definitely connected and can help us process emotions, help us heal from past pain and things that we need to grieve. So I want to share a story, and this story is actually my mom. She's one of the reasons why I got interested in health and healing. And so she actually, I have a little brother who's about 10 years younger than me. And after my mom had me, she started dealing with postpartum depression. And then after she had my little brother, it got really, really bad. She was a little bit older when she had him. So it just took a big toll on her body to have a child. And when women have children, they are using a lot of, nutrients and a lot of things from their body to make this child and nourish this child. So a lot of women are dealing with postpartum depression. My mom had it for years. And when I moved to Kansas City and started working at Spirit of Health, I got to create a protocol for her and really help her get off of her meds for depression, help her sleep. And so what we did is a few things. So we helped change her diet. She started doing a lot healthier eating. She cut out foods that are inflammatory, like dairy, processed sugars, grains, a lot of those carbs that cause inflammation in the body. And inflammation of the brain is definitely a root cause of depression. It's very connected to depression. We also supported her body nutritionally with high calcium foods. That's really, really helpful. One thing that depression can be connected to is a very weak parathyroid gland. So we had her on a parathyroid glandular, and she did our bone and connective tissue powder. She was high dosing that. There's a lot of calcium in that. So low calcium levels and low calcium utilization in the body can be connected to depression as well. And that really, really helped her get off. She also did a lot of detoxing. So she did our colon cleanse, kidney cleanse, lymph, liver, all of that. And so she's been off her medication for years now. So I wanted to share that story just to give you guys some encouragement. Every little thing that you do is really going to help. So let's see here. So gut dysbiosis and infection, we were on that one. And so gut dysbiosis, over 90% of serotonin is created in the gut. And so what happens is we have a lot of good gut bacteria, and then there can be pathogenic bacteria that's really causing brain inflammation and all these different issues in the body. And so what we need is to really strengthen and increase the good gut flora and help decrease any infectious organisms and pathogenic bacteria. And once we do that, that will really help to start regulating our neurotransmitters, things like that, and decreasing the brain inflammation. So things like, we really love the GI Ultramax Pro by Mother Earth Labs. That's an incredible gut healing formula. your biotics, that is a really, really good prebiotic and probiotic with some powerful microorganisms to really replenish the good gut flora in our body. And getting lots of good minerals. A lot of people are so minerally depleted these days. Our food supply does not have the same minerals in the soil that we had hundreds of years ago. So getting good minerals. We love CellCore CT minerals, that's a good one. Another Mother Earth Labs, humic and fulvic SC, adding that to your water can be really, really helpful to just support your body nutritionally. Okay. As well as another root can be Lyme disease. So a lot of people with Lyme disease, almost all people that have Lyme disease also have depression. So again, infectious organisms, taking care of those deep-rooted infections in the body can really help heal the brain inflammation and the depression that's going on. Heavy metals, that's another toxicity that will really, really affect the nervous system. I remember there was one woman that she did a heavy metal detox. She was working with one of the practitioners, and her husband called and he was like, her emotions are going crazy right now. Extreme highs and lows. She was crying a lot, and it just felt like, oh my goodness, what is going on? So heavy metals are so connected to our nervous system, our brain, and just our mood and our emotions. So if you do have heavy metals, it'd be really good to work with a practitioner because it can be a very intense detox. Mold toxicity, that's another one that's very connected to the nervous system. So mold really attacks the nervous system. It attacks our neurotransmitters. It will affect the liver, the gut, and the liver is going to be one of the most important things for hormones, our hormone health. So imagine if mold is like suppressing the liver, overwhelming the liver, it's attacking our nervous system. Depression can be connected to that. So mold is a big one. And then chemicals, so detoxing chemicals. A lot of chemicals that are found in our environment, found in plastics. The average person takes in 1 credit card's worth of plastic a week. That's a lot of plastic. And plastics don't break down. They're like those forever chemicals. So that's in our bloodstream. That's affecting our hormones. They act as endocrine disruptors. They actually act as like fake estrogen, fake hormones, and they congest our whole hormonal system. So imagine what that's doing to your mood and emotions. So detoxing chemicals is really important, and making sure that you're not doing a lot of plastics. Even if it's BPA free, there are thousands of chemicals in plastic. It's really sad in America, in our food supply, there's about 11 pesticides and chemicals banned, where in Europe, there's over 1,100. So imagine what we're getting in our food supply if we're not eating organic. Even with organic, there's still some. So cleaning our fruits and veggies. If you can have a garden at home, great. Detoxing, we do love CellCore's binders. So the ViRadChem binder is amazing. HMET binder, that's one of the only binders that will bind to glyphosate and heavy metals. So BioToxin binder, that's another amazing binder. So I would encourage you to consistently be on a binder, and you can cycle throughout those. Let's see here. Stress is another root cause of depression. So many people are absolutely overwhelmed in life. If you think about where we're at today with cell phones, with the internet, with technology, they can be such a blessing. I love that I can FaceTime my family and they are 12 hours away from me, that's awesome. But at the same time, it can be too much stimulation. We weren't meant for all this stimulation, all this information. It's a technology overload. So unplugging, making sure that you have time set aside each day where you're not on your phone, where your computer's off, where you're just sitting in quiet, where you're allowing thoughts to come up, where you're allowing yourself to process things throughout the day. Because if there's a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die, and that's the reality that if we suppress different stressors, different pain points, different feelings that we have each day, they're not just going away. They're still there, and they get louder and louder and louder the more that we suppress them. So I would really encourage you to allow yourself to feel, even if it's 5 minutes a day of sitting in silence and letting yourself feel what you need to feel, letting those thoughts come up, letting yourself process different pain points throughout the day, throughout the week, or even if stuff from your childhood comes up. That's definitely going to happen. So I want to touch on how the brain works, and we're going to talk about now keys to processing emotions. So depression, like I said, you're not broken. And there's a reason that people go into depression. I'm taking a class right now called Pathway to Freedom, and we're talking about different triggers, and they call it the 4F response. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. And when I think of triggered emotions when I'm in like a stressed state, I always think of this hyper arousal, like I need to run from something. I need to, flight is like a bird, fly away. I need to dissociate from this. I've struggled with OCD for a lot of my life. So OCD, a lot of times you're like trying to fly away from something, or you need to fight it. And that's like anger can come up and that kind of a trigger. But depression is really like hypoarousal, where there's been so much threat in your life and so many triggers and so much stress. And maybe your body's dealing with a toxic load and there's brain inflammation. There's all this stuff going on that it's so much on your body and your mind and your nervous system that you go into hypoarousal, where it's like that freeze. So I'm sure that if you've dealt with depression, you've had days where you feel like, I can't even get out of bed today. Like I literally can't think. I don't know how to go to the grocery store. I don't know how to plan my day. I don't know how to pick out an outfit. It feels so overwhelming to me. So I want to give you some tools to help you start to process those emotions and allow yourself to feel, to regulate your nervous system. There's so much there. I would encourage you, if you want to learn how to process your emotions, that there are some really good resources out there. I'll give you some here shortly. I'm going to touch on right now how the brain works and what happens when we are in that 4F response: fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So we have our brain is really wired for war and to view threat. Where is there a threat? Because we need to keep ourselves safe, right? So we have an amygdala part of the brain that's like the lower back end, and our prefrontal cortex. And what happens is when we're in a depressed state or when we're in fight or flight, we're operating from our back amygdala, and that's when we're focused on threat. So there's something that's threatening. It can be, it can be triggered from a conversation with a friend and they say something that reminds you of something in your past that was really painful. Or you can be walking around outside and you see someone that maybe they look at you weird, and that can just start to get your brain in the amygdala section. So when we are in a place of peace and joy, we're actually operating out of what they call the relational part of our brain. When you feel like you can connect with someone, that you can love someone else, you really enjoy them, you're curious about them, that's the prefrontal cortex. So what's really interesting is they say that, our brain stops growing in our 20s. I've heard that for years, but the reality is the amygdala, or the prefrontal cortex in the front, that can actually grow and grow and grow. And so the more that we focus on things that are safe, things that bring us joy, and things that bring us peace, that actually grows that front part of our brain, the prefrontal cortex, and it helps us to stay operating out of that relational part of our brain. So, there is a doctor, his name is Dr. Jim Wilder, that I love his work. He started the Life Model Works group, and they're a Christian organization made up of psychiatrists, counselors, pastors. So Dr. Jim Wilder is a neurotheologian, and so he studies God and he studies brain science. And one of the main things that he has studied and teaches on is joy, because joy is something that grows that prefrontal cortex part of our brain, and it can really, really help to regulate our nervous system. So joy is really just two people that are glad to be together. So it's a very relational aspect. It can even be me and God, like me watching a sunset and enjoying this beautiful painting that God has given me. But joy is, think of you and a friend getting together and they're so happy to see you, and then you're so happy to see them, and you hug and you laugh. That's filling both of your joy parts of your brains, both prefrontal cortexes. So one thing that you can do to help get you connected to the joy center, the relational center of your brain, is to focus on joy memories in life. So they don't have to be these big, grandiose memories. They can be something as simple as, I had a birthday party and it was my friend's birthday party, and I just got to see how happy she was, and we surprised her, and it was so fun seeing her surprised, and I experienced so much joy and peace when she walked in. So thinking of moments in life where you felt at peace, where you felt safe, where you felt real joy, that can really help to get your brain from the fear center, the amygdala, up back to the prefrontal cortex. So what I've done is created a list of joy moments on my phone. I've named them so I can go back to different trips that I've taken, or walks in nature, or coffee times with friends, and I can just relive those moments. And when you close your eyes, when you think about the moment, think about how it felt to be in the moment. Think about the things that you heard. Think about if you were outside, did you feel the sun on your skin? Did you feel the wind? Did you hear birds? And when you do that, it actually helps your body get back to that moment in time that you felt joy and peace. So even though you're not physically there, inside your body and in your nervous system, it's actually creating all those neurotransmitters and hormones, just like when you were there in the moment. So 5 minutes a day, if you can do that 5 minutes a day, that is a huge game changer to regulating your nervous system. Another thing to note with emotions, every single emotion has an emotion wave, okay? So what happens is we get activated, something in our experience activates us, and maybe it's a threat response. So I start to respond with my blood pressure increasing, or feeling like I need to freeze right now and I can't think and I can't move. So something activates that. We have a literal, in our body, we start responding. So a lot of times before we even cognitively are aware of what we're afraid of or what's threatening us, our body has a physical response going on. So we can feel us tense up. Maybe we feel pain, a tightness in our neck or in our gut, something's going on. So there's a physical response connected to our emotions, and then that can increase. And a lot of times there's this point where we're like, I can't feel this. It's too hurtful. It's too sad. It's gonna be overwhelming to feel this emotion. And that's when we cut it off and we dissociate and we suppress it. But if we let it go all the way to the top and we allow ourselves to feel it, it will inevitably come back down. Every emotion, whether joy or anger or sadness, every emotion has a wave and it will come back down and you will be able to get regulated. So things to help you regulate, I mentioned joy memories, moving your body. So emotions are physical matter in our body that has to be moved, that has to move through. Their energy and motion. So actually getting up, you can feel like, okay, I feel like I need to jump right now. I feel like I need to shake. They actually know that animals do this after they're threatened by an attack. You'll see animals do this where they'll freeze and they'll play dead, and then they'll literally shake off the emotion, the energy, the threat, and then they'll just go about our day. So that's what happens. A lot of people have emotions that have been stored in our body, in their bodies, and we need to help them move through. So literally moving your body, rebounding, running, jumping, shaking, pounding something, hitting something, all of that will help the emotion move through. Breathing, that is another incredible way to regulate the nervous system and help calm down your emotions. So Wim Hof, we really recommend him. There's an 11-minute breathing video. If you did that every day, I challenge you to do it every day for a month and see how you feel after that month. You will feel like a new person. Breathing is one of the most amazing, powerful ways to regulate your nervous system, help calm down your nervous system, and help process your emotions. So there are tons of breathing exercises that you can do. There's box breathing. I like doing just a 1-2 sigh. So you take a deep breath in, a full breath in, hold it, one more breath, as much as you can in, hold it, and then breathe out slowly with a sigh. And focusing on a slow breath out, that communicates to your nervous system, okay, we can regulate, we're safe right now. So look up different breathing exercises. Get in the habit of deep breathing. Over 90% of people today are not breathing properly and are shallow breathing just through their chest here. The last thing that I would say to help, just to help with healing from depression and suppressed emotions, is really having compassion on yourself, because it's life is hard, and you didn't ask for depression, and a lot of us haven't learned how to process emotions. So if we weren't taught how to do that, if our parents didn't know, we didn't learn in school, it's very new for you. So I would just encourage you to be a friend to yourself, to be kind to yourself, and really have compassion and validate yourself that life is hard, that I'm sure that you've gone through lots of ups and downs and lots of trying times, and that it makes sense that you're dealing with a lot of suppressed emotions, a lot of anger, a lot of pain. So just giving yourself permission to feel and to even be angry, to let out anger in a healthy way. I've done times where I go in my car and I just scream, and I don't even know why sometimes, but these emotions will come up and I just feel like I have to let them out. So giving yourself permission to feel, to be disappointed in life, to be hurt, to express that life has been hard, and having compassion on yourself. And really also connecting with God. A lot of inner healing ministries are connected with God meeting us in moments in life where they were painful, and Him connecting and having compassion on our stories. So we're all made to be connected, and God wants to connect with you in your story, and He wants to be able to say, like, I see you, I hear you, I know you, and I'm so sorry for what you've been through. It's not your fault, and I'm delighted to be with you in your anger, in your weakness, in your pain, that he loves to be with you in all of that. So attunement is a really powerful thing if you can connect with God, connect with love, connect with people that are safe in your life, that they want to know you and see you and be with you throughout these painful moments, and even connecting with your own heart, because we can be a friend to ourselves as well. So I just want to encourage you with that. And to give you some resources, I mentioned resources. So Dr. Jim Wilder is amazing. The Wim Hof method and other breathing exercises. Books that I like, Feelings Buried Alive, Never Die, as well as It Didn't Start With You is another book, and The Body Keeps the Score. And then Strong Like Water is a really good book by Andy Kohlberg. And I hope you guys have a great day and enjoy this video.